Hi, my name is Andimetro, and today I'm doing an all liquid, all cream 90s makeup look. I'm working out of my friend Hannah's store called The Break in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and she often does events here, and I help make it a day of beauty at the store. The girls from the store often do these 80s, 90s inspired structured blazers, and it reminded me of stars from classic movies, power players that were all women, and that was my inspiration for the look today. So jumping right into it, I've already prepped her skin. It's clean, it's moisturized, it's toned and supple, and I'm just gonna prep her eyes with a little bit of concealer to prime the eye and jump right in with color. So I'm just using a really light veil on the eyes to neutralize the lid, and then I'm gonna go right into combing the eyebrows. I always like to start with them really neat right before I begin color. So I'm picking up yellow from a Makeup Forever Flash palette, all cream, and I'm starting to blend it into the crease, and this is going to be my background color for my browns to sort of melt into this yellow cast. And I'm just blending so there's no edges whatsoever, and the color just sort of melts out into the skin, and it's very seamless. And I always sort of keep the outer corners slightly more intense in color just because I think it's more flattering to the eye regardless of the direction of the look I'm going in. It just sort of ends up that way every time. And I continue to diffuse till I have the perfect blend. And I'm about to go in with brown, blending it from the outer corner as I mentioned before and pushing that color in towards the center of the eye, and then stretching those last remnants all the way across. These creams are so beautiful to work with. They just give you that seamless effect from one color to the next so easily, and you have this effortless glow that's so beautiful, and you'll see that throughout this video. So I'm using a fluffy brush. This one's from MAC, and it really helps make this gradient that I'm working on from yellow to brown or brown to yellow so easy. I absolutely love working on eyes with a nice fluffy brush. I find that half the battle in doing beautiful makeup is having a great set of tools. Also, I'm noticing here that you'll see that swatch of color on my hands. I always take off excess color on my hands so it doesn't deposit too intensely when it first touches the skin. And it also helps me mix the colors up a little bit. So I picked up a pencil brush here, and I'm using the redder brown in the Flash palette, and I'm just doing a very soft, diffused underlining of the eye. And because I want those edges so soft, I don't mind using my fingers or a Q-tip to help make that line melt into the skin even more. Moving on to brows. The 80s were all about thicker, bigger, more natural eyebrows. So the approach I'm taking here is just kind of reinforcing her natural shape with sort of hair-like strokes, and I will just kind of follow her natural shape, let it guide me, but continuing with a natural hair-like stroke. And then because I don't want it to look too painted on or too much like these Instagram eyebrows that are everywhere, I comb through pretty often through my application so that it looks just soft and natural. And as you can see, I'm using just powder eyeshadow and a 266 MAC angle brush and a spoolie. So I'm going in now with Glossier's Boy Brow. I believe I used blonde for this one, and I just wanted that extra texture because this is an 80s/90s look, and to look like a little wet, a little gelled, a little brush job, and a little more present against the shadow. I loved her brows like this. It really kind of topped off the vibe that I'm going for. I'm picking up Anastasia's cream contour palette, which has been my saving grace. I love this palette so much. And a synthetic brush, and I'm just going right into her hollows of her cheekbones and blending out as well as I can. One of my pet peeves is a hard line in contouring or bronzer or whatever you want to call it. Going into the forehead and just working it into the skin. It's present, but it's not harsh. Gotta hit the jawline, structure to go with that blazer, structure in the face, structure in the brow. And then again, this palette, it's so amazing. It has such great texture and such great tones to contour almost anybody, but it has that peach that I have used so often as a blush. And that's her blush today. Smack onto the apples of her cheeks. It just melts right in. And then you've got to hit the nose when you're talking about 80s, 90s. They always did a little blush in the nose. And that's what we're talking about here. So I wanted this look to be bold, but not heavy. And that's why it's so important to do liquids and creams, because it brings a freshness and a chicness to it. Always have to curl the lashes. She already has pretty thick curly lashes, but you want them to stand and not lie. And I just did one little coat on either side. So now you can never have enough dew, and I'm going in with Glossier's Balm.com, and I'm sort of melting it with the warmth of my finger into my hand and using a fan brush to kind of hit the tops of her cheekbones, the high planes of her face, for a little extra glow. And it's not a pearlized glow, it's just like a sweaty glow. So I'm gonna pick up the red from the same Flash palette and glide that red right on. And I'd say it is a bluer red bordering on slightly burgundy, but still a true red. It's definitely not an orange red. And that era was all about the blue reds. With bold colors like these, you always have to be so precise. A lip liner is a gift because it will fix up all your flaws at the end. But I really do try and get it right the first time, just with lipstick. Going back to textures, I'm using a really creamy texture. It's not matte, it's not glossy, it's just luxuriously creamy. So I'm cleaning up my lines, and I'm just using a drugstore lip liner here. I believe this is from NYX, and I love my little drugstore finds. They're the best. Some items are just as good as luxury brands. So with that, I have completed my all cream in liquid 80s 90s makeup look. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank my beautiful model Elianah for sitting with me. She is actually one of the sales associates at The Break. She's a #breakbabe. I also want to thank this diva, Hannah Richtman, the owner of the store, for having me again. If you're in New York, you should stop by the store and say hi to them. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, love notes, suicide letters, etc., you can leave them below. You can also follow me on Instagram, handle @Andimetro. Thanks again for stopping by. I love you. I really mean it. I also love your hair, and I hope you win. Bye.